welcome to the board meeting of the budget committee. We're going to set some ground rules from the beginning. Our councilman co-chair of the budget committee. They will introduce themselves on who they are. We cannot respond up here to say anything. We need to listen. I hope everyone will be respectful to one another so that we can move this program and move this community along. I would like the committee to introduce themselves, starting with the other co-chair.
Good evening. My name is Scott Burns. I am co-chair of the Budget Appropriations Committee.
Good evening, Mr. Reader. I'm Ingrid Middle Teacher, Councilman of the Bridgeport District, and member of the Budget Appropriations Committee. Mayor Anthony Bryan, representing the County District, a member of the committee.
Jeanette Herron, 133rd District Budget and Appropriation. Richard Ortiz, 135th, Committee Member.
Each member will be given 3 minutes. We hear it, timer on, and we'll ask you to wrap it up. Please be respectful because there are a lot of people who speak tonight. We will allow the Board of Education members, Dr. Avery, and the board to be the first ones to speak. So our first speaker for tonight is Dr. Avery.
Good evening, Mayor Gavin, members of the City Council, members of the community. As of Monday, Bridgeport Public Schools imposed a major budget deficit, one that forced us to make incredible, difficult decisions. These were not choices we wanted to make, but they were necessary to remain fiscally responsible to keep our schools operating. Prior to this vote, over 90 positions had already been eliminated. The board did approve further reductions. 20 teachers, all school librarians, key support roles, assistant principals, counselors, social workers, and climate specialists. One of the most serious changes affects students' transportation. We increased the walking distance for bus-eligible students to 2.5 miles, leaving nearly 2,500 high school students without access to bus services. Many of these students will now have to walk long distance through areas that may be unsafe, especially during the winter when they face cold, dark, and unpredictable hazard conditions. We need to protect our children and be there for them, not make it hard for them to get to school safely. We also had to eliminate the FAME after-school performing arts academy and reduce investments in curriculum and essential educational supports. These are not surface-level cuts. They affect the core of what we provide students every single day. Bridgeport cannot sustain this level of loss year after year, and we're doing everything we can, but we need your partnership. We ask you, our city, our state leaders, to join us addressing these challenges. Nearly $120 million of our budget is dedicated to special education needs alone, reflecting the high needs of our students. Without sustainable investments, the gap between Bridgeport and neighboring communities will only widen. Let's stand together for our students, for our schools, and for our future. Thank you.
Medina.
With Medina, once again, as you deliberate, as you do your due diligence, if you think about all all the years that I've come before you and I've directed our communications in a different manner, but now we're part of the same team and we have the same responsibility. As you devote these funds to education, I want you to think that if we're going to a celebration and we're going to join together as a team, and I'm going to say I'm going to give $100 towards a gift that we're going to give. And when you collect your card and you fill up the card with the money that was collected, and the person opens up that gift and there's only $100 in there, where was your investment? I gave, we're going to give, this board already dedicated millions of dollars to go into education to try to save some of these positions, some of these the art programs and some of these pairs that we need. You guys know what we need. Years have gone by and I've been hearing that you guys don't want to give money to education. When I hear that you decided long ago that you said, when you come before us, I'm not going to give you anything, I'm going to remember what you did. Well, you know what? Shame on you. You're here as a representative. I appreciate you guys. I look forward to building bridges. I'd rather communicate with some of your leaders and meet with you guys as individuals, people. We're here to do our job. Now I'm in this side of the table. And I think it's right to do it. The state has already had billions of dollars, billions, and doing nothing with it. So remember, when you invest, make sure you put your part into that card. Because look at this room right now. We have educators, we have students, we have little ones, we have special needs students, and they need the resources. You want to know where it's coming from? Every year we come to you and we give you our budget. You can see line item by line item every single dollar. So don't come to me saying that you don't know where the money is going. You have me. My name, Willie Medina, born and raised in Bridgeport, Connecticut. You need any information, I will sit down with you and show you where the money is going to. I appreciate you guys considering, but I need you guys to devote money into education from the city budget, not from the state, not from our budget, from your budget. Please invest in the community. Policing needs its own money, that's separate. Don't hold our children hostages any longer. God bless you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Joseph Callaway, Vice Chair of the Bridgeport Board of Education. With all due respect to Dr. Avery, the board is not making these cuts. These cuts are proposed directly by the City Council and the State of Connecticut. And Mayor of Bridgeport, we have chronically underfunded education each and every year. What we're doing right now is we're witnessing the death of public education in the city of Bridgeport, and you guys are complicit. You are funding public safety at $4.1 million additional dollars in the city education system, $3 million. Shame, shame, shame. You rather arrest and incarcerate our students rather than educate them. You rather spend money on bullets and books. Respectfully, I would like to have some silence for the last bit of my conversation for you guys to contemplate children walking 1.5 miles through the rain, snow, and sleet if they come to school. I want you to contemplate a kindergarten teacher with 24 students with no help in the classroom. Due to the funding you guys are funded. I want you to think about that. I want you to go to sleep tonight thinking about those faces, thinking about the children, thinking about the teachers, thinking about the librarians that will no longer have jobs, the social workers, the psychologists. Your kids are trauma damaged. They see shootings in their homes. They see shootings in their neighborhoods. But guess what? We got psychologists and social workers because you guys consistently unfunded. These cuts are on you. These cuts are your responsibility. Now I'm going to call for 1 minute and 23 seconds of silence for you guys to think about what you do.
so bad, and I never see how bad is what we're going through. I know for location city, they always got things go up and down, but you guys know what we need. You think that's easy for me to say yes? Of course, I can say no, but I don't have the heart to say yes, let's cut this. All these staff work so hard, they care. You think if they don't care, if they don't want to be in Bridgeport Public School, they will say, they can go to another town and make more money. Okay, they take $20,000 more, but they stay here because they care. They care, they want the best for our children and for everyone. I believe it was very clear, all the message you guys know what we do, and it's a shame that sometimes they say, oh, all education, they don't know how to do with the money. Guess what? The 3 people coming from the state, they're surprised. They're in shock what Bridgeport School do with the money, how to spend the money. They really know they need more money. This gentleman here, Dr. Avery, for the short time he's here, he do a phenomenal job. And I challenge anyone saying he's not doing the job. He's a human. He's not perfect. But at least you know what? He got something good that we want. I want great communication. Because if you don't have communication, what are you going to do? For the short time, this gentleman is trying to do the best for Bridgeport Public School. And not only him, the team, the cabinet, day and night, Saturday and Sunday, when sometimes us we end up sleeping or join with the family, the cabinet, Dr. Avery, and some more members, we working for Bridgeport Public School. And I hope you understand, guys, we're here to work together for the best for our children and for the city. I believe we pay a lot of taxes in the city, we're not getting funded the way it's supposed to be. Please think about it, because this is our future, our kids, your grandkids, your nephew, your niece. Together we can make a difference. We're not perfect, but I know we can do the better. Because of one thing more, it's not only Bridgeport have this issue, all the state have it. But it's not fair that all this city have more money, less students, and us, Bridgeport Public School, have almost 20,000 students, almost 5,000 staff, and we got less money. It's not fair. So please think, because together we can make a difference. God bless you all. Thank you.
Members of the City Council, and I stand before you. I came here for the first time in the early 90s as a parent when my daughter began school. For that decade, I came before you again and again, asking for more money. Some of you were here. I remember going out in the hallway and listening to Pat Crossan, God rest his soul, explain to people, it was the Board of Ed's fault. Couldn't control the Board of Ed. And then I remember also at the time hearing that Gabe Byaford, who was my state rep from Treeland 138, it was the state delegation's fault. They weren't delivering the funds from Hartford that we needed for the schools. And then I read, I'm not telling you, I came tonight and the theme of my speech was deja vu. I was in Hartford yesterday and I had a state rep tell me the city's got to come up with half the money for the deficit. And I looked at him and I said, are you kidding me? We're not going to get that money out of the city. And then I read in today's paper, the mayor says, well, it's the Board of Ed. That's why the State Department of Ed is here. Well, I'm here to tell you the State Department of Ed has done nothing that we weren't already doing to correct the problems that were created last year. So I'm tired of the finger pointing. And in the next decade, I was a new teacher and still a parent. And in the next decade, I was a union leader in the Bridgeport Education Association. And now in this decade, I'm a grandparent and on the Board of Ed, and it's the same finger pointing. And it's time we stop that and do something for our children. That's all. We've been working with the administration to right the ship and point it in the right direction. The state has, oodles of money, that $6 billion surplus that they never dreamed in their wildest dreams they would have. And then they should be $67 million to not only balance this budget, to start making progress in giving our children greater opportunities. And that's what we aspire to, not just balancing the budget, maintaining the status quo, but let's start making things better for our children. And that's what we all want. This body needs to show a commitment, and that means some action that shows you're doing better than $3 million last year. And that means you need to increase the contribution this year. So let's do that as a gesture so that we can then all go to Harvard and fight together for our children.
Next speaker is Amy Guerrero.
Hello, can you hear me? Great. Good evening, Bridgeport City Council members, and also to Mayor Gaddam's representative. I am also addressing our Connecticut state legislators and Governor Lamont. I speak on behalf of the brilliant and beautiful students of Bridgeport Public Schools. My name is Amy Guerrero. I am one of the caring thousands of teachers here in Bridgeport. As a child, I spoke Ilocano, our dialect. Let me start over. I'm a proud child of first-generation immigrants from Ilocos Norte, the Philippines. As a child, I spoke Ilocano, our dialect, and Tagalog, our national language. Learning how to speak English, the school library was my sanctuary. Sadly, I lost my home languages to assimilation. Today, I am a proud school library media teacher, a teacher librarian at Blackham School. In Bridgeport, over 30% of our student population are multilingual learners. Today, I lift up all MLL students to be proud of their home languages, to think of themselves as future bilingual leaders of the United States and the world. Bridgeport Public Schools is also the school home to 30% of Black Americans. My late dad taught me and my siblings that it was because of Dr. King, Medgar Evers, and other great Black leaders who gave their lives to the civil rights movement that immigrants like him and my mom could come here for a better life. Today, I strive to lift up my Black American students with newly published books that teach their history, our history, and reflect their stories of agency. You come from kingdoms of queens and kings. State legislators, Governor Lamont, Bridgeport Public School students deserve only the best, more, not less. Taking away school library media teacher librarians is an issue of social justice and educational equity. In the library, we teach every student. We cultivate. In the library, we promote a culture of reading. We build vocabulary. We teach joy. In the library, we teach critical thinking skills to navigate our world of disinformation. We promote student agency. In the library, we support our teacher colleagues on the latest technology. We collaborate. In the library, we give students the time and space to express themselves and their learning through digital tools like Canva and PowerPoint. Our students learn to communicate. In the library, we watch our students literally grow from year to year. Teacher librarians are sanctuaries for our students. Teacher librarians are first responders. Cutting our position is an issue of social injustice and educational inequity. Children will suffer because of the mistakes of adults. State legislators, Bridgeport Public Schools deserve more, not less. I close with a message to Governor Ned Lamont. Governor Lamont, with your surplus of $5 million, you could secure your legacy by restoring all the cuts to Bridgeport Public Schools and fully funding the budgets of all Title I school districts. we are teacher librarians. Say it, school librarians, we are the heart of the school. Say it, school librarians, we teach every student with all our heart. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Maria Inez Valle. I am here to speak on what's going on. I love that sign, Save Our School Librarians. Again, I understand that we, the council, did, have money for the Board of Ed, and I'm hoping that somewhere, somehow, a little bit more could be found and given to the Board of Education. Not only, and that as I hear and know that there is a surplus in Hartford, I'm hoping too that our governor sends more money to the Board of Ed to help our children. As she stated here, Ms. Guerrero, she mentioned how librarians serve many purposes, and I can attest to that because my daughter is a librarian. My daughter comes home to me and says, "Mom, this little boy came to me when ice was all over the place, and there was all this individual scared because we were afraid, even I that worked with the seniors was afraid that somebody would come into the center and take one of our seniors away." So this little boy says to my daughter, "Miss, do I look Mexican?" When my daughter told me that, my tears were coming down. Because you know what? It hurt me. I know. So I know that if we take these social workers and even psychologists away from our youth, who are they going to go and talk to if there's something happening? That's that. The other thing is, I believe that the libraries just got some, millions of dollars, right? To do certain projects within the school system and upgrade their library. Well, guess what? What's going to happen with all that money and all the work that these librarians have done to help our children? We know how important these librarians are to us. So that to me is very important. As a matter of fact, and I hope I don't get anybody in trouble, but the bottom line is too that just recently I got a notice that work that was done by several librarians, but written by 3, their work is going to be published. And then what, right? Then the other thing is that I ask and I beg, whatever adjectives comes to our mind at this moment, is for the Board of Education to please, from the top, do not waste money that should not be. Because if you didn't know, there was a certain person that was double dipping in the Board of Education, was getting paid by the Board of Education, it was getting paid by the city of Bridgeport. That money could have been used for our children. In the You should have spoken up. Well, guess what? I did. My thing is, I don't go to the media and show my face in front of Channel 12 or whatever channel to state. I do it quietly behind the scenes.
Good evening, council members, members of the City Council. My name is Emilio Planas. I am the Director of Mathematics for the Bridgeport Public Schools. but most importantly, I'm a proud graduate of the Bridgeport schools. And an educator who has spent over 30 years working to improve the lives of our students here in Bridgeport. Tonight, I speak not only as a district leader, but as someone who has experienced the long-term impact of chronic underfunding. And while I thank you for the additional $3 million allocated, sincerely, it is not enough. We're facing a major shortfall just to sustain basic operations that you have heard. I'll give you an example in my department. Every support position has been totally eliminated. Math coaches, co-directors, teacher leaders, even our secretary is gone. Today, I am doing the work of an entire team in one of the most critical subjects for student success. Meanwhile, we're welcoming more than 150 new teachers, supporting new multilingual and special needs students, and struggling to provide materials they need to learn. Now we're bracing for even deeper cuts, fewer assistant principals, fewer counselors, and longer walking distances just to get to school. I walked from Bassick to Central, 2-mile walk, 30 minutes when I was in high school. Can you imagine a second grader or third grader doing that? Let me say this clearly. Students who seem neediest don't require less attention. They require more. Not because they're difficult, but because they've gone too long without the support every learner deserves. That is the reality our school faces every single day. Bridgeport students are as bright and full of potential as any academic. Potential means nothing without resources. As Nelson Mandela once said, education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world. Millions of dollars for police overtime, then surely we can invest in our children's future. Public safety starts with public investment. And lastly, as you heard, we need your voice. Not only in this chamber, but also in Hartford. We ask this council to join us to fix the broken system and secure the equitable funding our students deserve. Let's stand together. Let's do better. Our students are counting on us.
Next, Jess Resto.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Jess Westo. I'm 110 Jennings Ave. I'm the president of the president of the Park City PAC. I talk to families every day at schools, pick up sports, karate, birthday parties, and I keep hearing the same thing: fear. People are scared about what these cuts mean for their kids, their schools, and their futures. Let's be clear, we're not approaching a crisis, we're already in one. Our schools are past bare bones, there's nothing left to cut. Ceilings are collapsing, the water runs around, mice or rats, as my kids say, roam the halls. Kids are being forced to walk to school without sidewalks or crosswalks, and now we're cutting the very people who will hold our schools together. The ones who comfort our kids on their hardest days, gone. Teachers already overwhelmed are now expected to do even more with less and more trauma. And let's not forget, these are the same people we called essential during COVID. They showed up when it was hard and scary for our kids. They should be standing with you, and you should be standing with them. Instead, we're pushing forward a $19 million police facility. Let's be honest, that building won't fix our city's climate. It won't stop the violence or heal the trauma. And it won't give our kids hope. Because safety doesn't come from bricks, it comes from opportunity, and opportunity starts with education. It's just a bad budget, it's abandonment. And let's be real, how many times have we seen politicians wait for tragedy before they act like they care? We shouldn't have to make national headlines to get basic resources. The time to care isn't after the worst happens, it's now. This is an election year. We are watching and we see who stands for our children and who stays silent. Stand with our kids, stand with our schools, fund education, restore the positions, and choose people over projects. Thank you.
Aaron Newcomb.
Good evening. My name is Aaron Newcomb. I'm a teacher at Central High School, and this is my 12th year teaching in Bridgeport. Looking over the city budget, I couldn't help but wonder what it looks like for other departments to go without in the same way the city schools have had to for years. What would it look like if instead of increasing the public safety budget by 6% over the last 3 fiscal years, those departments had to make do with the 3% increase the city schools have had to accept? I do know what it looks like for our schools to try and make do. A couple of years ago, our boys varsity soccer team had to settle for homemade jerseys. I have over 20 students on my roster who are not fluent in English. Have you ever tried taking a high school level math class administered entirely in a language you do not understand without a translator? Like a few of my students, I would probably stop showing up to that class too. The number of students in this city who have had a functioning school library staffed with a full-time librarian their entire school careers has to be close to zero. And the number of students who have taken a core subject taught by a long-term substitute for the entire year has to be a majority. Teachers have to buy their own copy paper because we are only supplied with 1 ream a month. Only one of our 3 high schools has anything resembling a trade curriculum. Only 14 of our nearly 40 district buildings in this, the year of our Lord 2025, have air conditioning. And because this city council has historically found it so difficult to invest in this city's children, no child in Bridgeport will have a school librarian for the foreseeable future. High school students who already struggle making it to school as often as they need to will now have a 45-minute to an hour walk. And I get it. It's hard to see the dire consequences of a child not going to a school without a library. They're not immediate, but they are real. And I assure you, the best way to achieve public safety is not through more cops, it's through better schools. So I urge you. Go through the individual departments and give them the same expectation that you have given the school system year in and year out. Please expect them to make do with less so our children, your children, can finally have what they deserve. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Rita Skog, it's spelled S-K-O-G. I'm a proud graduate of the Bridgeport Public Schools and the State University system. I've built a successful career as a marketing executive, raised 2 sons, provided a secure home for my family on the education I received here in the city. As a recipient and strong supporter of public education, I expected the school system to have my children's best interest in mind and to provide them with a quality education. My parents expected the same thing, as do the parents of the children currently enrolled in our system today. It is appalling that the city of Bridgeport not funded the city schools to keep pace with the rate of inflation. Since 2014, this has cost our schools $42 million in funds. Our department's budgets, such as the police, have actually grown and taken resources away from education. As the city's commitment to and investment in education has declined, so has the percentage of students reading at grade level. An under 45% rate at grade level is not acceptable. Now we're cutting more teachers and closing school libraries, just at a time when they need reading support more than ever. For years, whenever the city budget was squeezed and could not balance, money was shaved from the allocation going to the schools. Less music courses, less sports programs, less books and supplies, less special education programs, less teachers, always less for our kids. The grand list has not grown much over the past decade. Perhaps a positive, more aggressive approach to public education on the part of the city and the state would have provided our community with more commercial opportunities for well-educated young people. The result of a solid education is good jobs. The result of good paying jobs is more revenue into the community. Investment in our schools is an investment in the future health of our economy. The state has another surplus to stash away this year. When do you go before the legislature en masse to do more than advocate for, but demand a fair share of that money for each child enrolled in our schools? Wake up. Do the right thing. Do your job. Find the $25 million the Board of Ed needs to do their job.
There is another sign-up sheet up at the top on the podium, so those that didn't get to sign the first two sheets still have an opportunity to sign up, okay?
Cass Shaw.
Good evening, my name is Cass Shaw. I live here in Bridgeport, and before I retired, I led a nonprofit that worked with 300 to 400 of our Bridgeport youth every year. Just last Saturday, Mayor Gannon came to one of the quarterly police and community meetings that I've been moderating for the last 2 years. So I asked him to explain why the police department is getting a $4 million increase while our school district is getting $3 million, having needed 25. Mayor Gannon said what he has said many times before. He threw the school board under the bus. He said it's the school board's incompetence which keeps him from choosing to adequately fund our schools. He said little to nothing about the 20,000 Bridgeport kids who deserve a great education. He gave no indication that he plans to support the board or improve the board's performance. He showed no interest in turning it around or making a long-term commitment to dig us out of this hole that we've created. Now look, you've heard all this before. Year by year, you hear the passion in the room every year. You know the problems better than we do in many respects. You know how bad these cuts are. You know how badly they affect our whole city. We need a plan. We need your leadership. If the mayor, if the city council were serious about giving our students a real chance at a quality education, we'd see you fighting for them. We would see you offering the board training, collaborating with them, partnering with them. We'd see you finding the best research, demanding accountability. We'd see you holding forums throughout the year, reaching out to parents and teachers and students to get their input. We'd see you celebrating and actively supporting nonprofit organizations that offer our students and our schools valuable resources and support. I live on Cleveland Avenue. I'm 2 blocks from the city's border with Fairfield. The kids who live on my block know full well that only a few yards away, the kids who live on the other side of Brookline Avenue get an education they can only dream of. The neglect and the apathy that this city has shown to our kids is debilitating. So now we eliminate all performing and visual arts, all librarians, we cut social workers. This is the way we tell our kids how much we value them. They hear us loud and clear. So I'm ashamed and I'm worried. This is no way to invest in our future. So please, for the sake of our kids and their future, get real. Call upon us to work with you, work with the school board, make a long-term plan. We know you can't do this year. Even if you double the amount that you want to give us now, it's not going to make enough of a difference. So start investing now and make a long-term plan and help us make this reality. Thank you.
Angie Van Norton.
I want to ask this council and Mayor Gavin why in this state other districts seem to value their students more than our Bridgeport kids. Our schools have been chronically underfunded for years while you continue to raise the budgets for police and other things here consistently. You consistently undervalue our children, our most precious commodity. Our district already struggles with attendance issues. Do you think by having our children walk over 2 miles each way that'll help them? I implore you to walk every day to work yourself. Through the rain, through the cold, through excessive heat, with streets with no sidewalk. Our children deserve music and theater and librarians and clean buildings. Our children deserve more. I want you to remember that we are voters and we are watching. You cannot say you are unaware. The Board of Education has made devastating cuts, eliminating 20 teacher positions, removing all school librarians, increasing walking distance for high school students to 2.5 miles, ending bus transportation for approximately 2,500 students, cutting after-school programs, eliminating central office staff members, laying our assistant principals, counselors, social worker, and kindness specialists off, reducing essential education services. I'm writing to express my deep concern about the current state of our schools and the community, and the gravity of the situation cannot be overstated. Our schools are unsafe and unhealthy. Our buildings are literally crumbling. And it's not just ceiling tiles falling during school hours. Entire ceilings are collapsing. Sewage backups, rodents run rampant, yet you continue to underfund the system. It shouldn't take a tragedy to spur action. The lack of resources and attention to mental health, it's not a matter of if something will happen, but it's when. What happens when that time comes? I do not want to see the mayor and governor suddenly up here, swooping in for a photo op, claiming a lack of leadership. As our leaders, they must act now. Our city council continues to ignore the real issues in our society Instead, they throw money at the police, pretending it's a solution while nothing improves. Our children deserve clean schools and quality programs, both in and out of our school. The biggest complaint from our teenagers is that there's nothing to do. Our city has been a disgrace my whole life. But that doesn't mean our families should have to endure the unsafe and inadequate schools. It's time to serve our community instead of the typical self-dealing that is done by this city council. Our kids need a chance. They deserve better. I plan on publishing a list of how you vote right before our next election. And now that I trust, and not that I trust that process either, after we all voted 5 times for our mayor.
Hello guys, I'm the one that emails all the time and bothers you guys. I apologize for it. understand there's these cuts, but if Mayor Dan was actually here, he'd be standing here. I'm forever grateful to Mr. Dr. Avery, who has been nothing but a blessing and an advocate for our children. The bare minimum, but it's not fair. You can't keep pacifying me and not getting to all of them. All these children deserve a freedom of speech. You're taking that away when we're taking away the arts. Arts open parts of the brain that no other way would ever be touched. We need to be there for our kids. If we don't fight for this, who will? And I'm not going to sit here and say this. I know we want to put them all in general ed, like special, I'm fighting for special ed right now, and general ed, it's supposed for everybody. But to segregate them and put them in a different school is not fair. The goal is the general population. Think about it. You guys are having kids that are special who also not being able to catch a bus and have to walk with nobody. And then you're sending them to classrooms with 32 kids that aren't getting handles on. You're not having the right properly. You also need help with general ed teachers to understand you're going to put a special ed kid in a general setting. There should be a meeting. Like, who was it? Miss Martin the other day was explaining how she helps with kids. And how she boosts up the children. We can't keep giving substitutes to our children and not give them the education that we fought for.
Yes.
We are all entitled to equal opportunity for education. These children deserve every penny. We pay taxes. We were supposed to raise taxes to help fund the school system.
Say it again.
This is an advocate. This is not only just a mother. This is all our children. Not only my child matters, but every single person here matters. Money's going because it's leaking somewhere. Because it's sad that I have to go to somebody on the council and I email all of you guys, and I only get responses from only but so many of you. Do your job.
Okay.
We pay taxes. She's coming up. Roll it off.
Christine, and I apologize, I can't read the last name, but from the Reset program.
Good evening, Council. Thank you for having me tonight. I just want to start by introducing myself. My name is Dr. Christine McFarland. I'm the founder of the Reset program. And I want to start with thanking a few people that did believe in me when I came to Bridgeport and I decided to begin a therapeutic alternative program that we could serve a particular population of children within the school system. And I'm here to first, I want to thank some of the people that were very helpful to me, which is Dr. Saki, Ms. Cheryl, Kwaja, Michael, is that correct? Derek Patrick, Jeanette, and Mr. Douglas. Mr. Douglas at Geraldine Theater. He's been very instrumental to making sure that some of the services that I've been trying to put in place here in Bridgeport to help some of the students and to help address the Board of Education with some of the educational crises that we're facing each year. And so I'm here to ask that with the crisis that's going on in Bridgeport when it comes down to the Board of Education, addressing certain programs like teenage pregnancy, trauma-informed work and support, tutoring programs, reducing in-school and out-of-school suspension, creating better relationships between parents and the school system, supporting parents and children in the home, community-based work, and encourage improved grades and scores, and to reduce or eliminate poor school attendance, that you guys consider keeping alternative programs Thank you.
Next speaker will be Trey.
Hello. Good evening. My name is Katie Trader. I'm a graduate of Bridgeport Public Schools, and I'm a parent of one current student, but eventually two. I'm also lucky enough to have a father who taught Black in school for 20 years and currently sits on the Board of Education. I'm speaking today to ask you to fully fund Bridgeport Public Schools. The Bridgeport Public Schools shortfall, so we don't have to cut teachers and staff in the classrooms and vital services our students so desperately need in our community. I'll just tell you, Bridgeport's an incredibly diverse city, I know we all know this. I went to Central High School, and I can tell you at Central High School, when I was in high school, there were 60 languages spoken, at least. I can also tell you we had a really vibrant arts program when I was there that included a Pulitzer Prize winning photojournalist teacher, an award-winning band program, among many other things, and we do not have that anymore in Central. And so, I'm just listening tonight, and we're hearing all of the things that we know have already been cut. There's nothing left to cut. And we're talking about librarians, of all things. And that's just wrong on so many levels. I can just tell you, one of the reasons Bridgeport is what is so beautiful is because of the diversity of our city. And that's part of the reason my partner went our 3-year-old last year to the pre-K 3 program in Bridgeport Public Schools. She was in a suburban daycare, and we wanted her to come and be able to, experience frankly what I grew up with. My partner is Jamaican, so also where he's from. We wanted her to have that rich diversity that Bridgeport offers. Her classroom now is full of students who are either immigrants or children of immigrants. Just like her father, who recently became a U.S. citizen.
Yeah.
I can just tell you, her teachers are incredible. It's so much more than we even thought we would get. They love and nurture my child in a way that, she can be very strong-willed and she's incredibly independent. Those are qualities that usually, kids are written off as hard to handle and difficult. And it's that her teachers see her as exactly who she is. Beautiful, smart, independent, artistic, right? These are all things that you want a teacher to see your child as. I had teachers like that when I was in the school system. Only a few years ago, not like I just graduated. I can tell you one of them is actually back today as an administrator with Scott, who's my 8th grade science teacher. But I can just tell you, as a parent, it's so important. It's so wonderful to have a teacher who nurtures my child's curiosity. She comes home learning lessons about, understanding and compassion, which are really important for especially small children. And we want her to continue on in Bridgeport Public Schools. There was never a question that she would go anywhere else. Again, we know all the limited resources that Bridgeport Public Schools have always had. Our school system's been underfunded for decades, and the staff in the school system still make miracles every day. They still make happen.
They do.
Not only the members they are, in my opinion, but also our city council and our mayor. And so, I'm just asking, just imagine the world that our children, if we fully funded our public school system, imagine how much more our children would have, and imagine that world when you are making this budget.
Good evening, members of the City Council. My name is Kayla Medina. I'm a lifelong resident of Bridgeport. For over 20 years, I've been a steadfast advocate for our public schools, not just as a parent, but as someone deeply committed to the transformative power of education in our community. My husband and I raised 3 daughters, who are now 26, 23, and 19. And guess what? They're still waiting for the money that was promised to them. The money that we've been advocating for year after year. They were fortunate enough to have dedicated educators who went above and beyond in their teaching,
becoming mentors and lifelong supporters. Some remain in integral parts of our lives today. This unwavering commitment from our teachers is the backbone of our schools, yet we continually ask them to do more with less. Recently, our Board of Education approved severe cuts due to a $30 million budget crisis. These cuts include the elimination of 20 teacher positions, all district librarians, and bus transportation. Additionally, performing and visual arts programs, social workers, counselors, assistant principals, and I'm sure I'm missing something. They are all being reduced. These decisions, though difficult, highlight a systemic issue, our consistent underinvestment in our education. Our students face challenges beyond the classroom, and we all know that. Poverty, trauma, and instability. They need more support, not less. If we want them to be proud of the community, we must provide them with the reasons and resources to be proud, starting with a robust, fully funded public education system. However, we can't achieve this if we continue to operate in silos. The Board of Education, City Council, State Delegation, and city officials must collaborate. While we may have differing opinions when it comes to our students' success, unity is paramount. This responsibility belongs to all of us. We need to see all of you testify and see the lack of support from all of you. It shows how divided up we are. If we want more funding for our city, we all need to be advocating, not just a few. But more importantly, it shows our kids we don't care. If we desire our children to return and invest in the city that raised them, we must invest in them now. Let's cease the blame game and lead with courage. It's time to fully fund our kids today. Not next year, not eventually, but now. And show our kids that we are all here for them. All of us, together as one community. Let's fight for our kids and don't abandon them. We all know what our city brings. We all know what we go through. We all know what our kids walk through each and every day. Our kids face numerous struggles. Let's not perpetuate the system that is designed for their failure. Let's flip the script and start anew. We all have the power to make that change. I know it can happen. I know what it takes. I know what our streets can bring. My father was murdered on the streets of Bridgeport. I know what the schools can bring. It brought it for me. School was my saving grace. The educators that helped me, the guidance counselor that nurtured me, that talked to me, and the support that got me to where I am today, it wasn't for nobody else but the public education system of Bridgeport. But today, we know that today is a whole lot different than when I graduated. I'm not going to tell you when I graduated, but it's a whole lot different than what it was back then. We have a lot more problems now than we did back then, but we have less to offer our kids. Don't give them less. Don't give them scraps. They need the best from us. If we want to turn our city around and get rid of the crime, education is the key. Fund education, and you'll see how crime goes down. Come on.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Eric Torres, and I am a former Bridgeport educator and Elevate Bridgeport Executive Director. I live by the motto, don't hit them where it hurts, but hit them where it matters, because it doesn't become personal until it matters. One of the most critical decisions during this budget cycle that matters is the funding being allocated for education because of the love we have for our children. And that tonight is personal. The deficit currently facing the Bridgeport Board of Education will adversely affect our children. Our children, because we, along with our elected officials, have been entrusted with ensuring their protection by any means necessary. We must give them access to an equitable education that guarantees they receive the academic, social, emotional, and mental support they need, enabling them to compete on equal footing with their peers in surrounding districts. Their current allocation for education will not only leave our students without equal footing, but it will only make them more vulnerable. As a lack of resources and increased barriers to education will lead to higher chronic absenteeism, decreased graduation rates, and diminished student engagement, further widening academic academic gaps our students already face, not because our teachers aren't great, but because the resources are limited. As a pastor, I believe there are matters we should pray about and contemplate, but there are also issues made clear through divine inspiration. Increasing the budget for education is one of those issues made clear, and it is being communicated tonight to the council through the voice of your constituents. We are not here to plead, beg, or borrow from the city. I'm going to say that again. We are not here to plead, beg, borrow. Instead, we are here to request, challenge, and partner with the mayor and the city council to reevaluate the education budget, to revive the Bridgeport Board of Education, to support our students by any means necessary. We are on life support, and now is not the time to pull the plug.
Come on.
If we do, our students will suffer dire consequences. I urge the city council and our mayor to take the long overdue action to adequately and fairly fund our schools as the most familiar as advocated by those who are most familiar with our challenges. Before we force our students to walk the extra mile, let us be willing to take the first of many steps to prevent some of these disastrous cuts tonight.
Our next speaker is Mr. Charles Griggs.
All right.
Good evening, council members. My name is Charlie Griggs. I work at Building Neighborhoods Together and I'm a resident of Bridgeport for the last 10 years. I'm here to urge your support for the additional $2 million appropriation to the Bridgeport Public Schools. This is not a luxury ask, it's a necessary lifeline. Right now, Bridgeport is spending less per student than nearly every other major city in Connecticut. About 4,000 to 6,000 less per student than Hartford, New Haven, and even our neighbor Stratford. And yet our students face greater challenges. 90% qualify for free or reduced price meals. A third are English learners. 1 in 5 have special education needs. And while our teachers and staff do heroic work, which you've heard tonight, the state is shortchanging us. The education cost sharing formula owes Bridgeport over $47 million a year. But we're being told to wait until 2028. Meanwhile, Hartford and New Haven are getting significantly more support right now. Because of this gap, we've already heard tonight, we've cut 20 teachers, all of our librarians, and bus service for thousands of students. Class sizes are growing, reading and math support are disappearing, and we're being told that 11% math proficiency and 20% reading proficiency is the best that we can hope for. That's purely unacceptable.
Say it again.
Our students are not the problem.
At all.
It's the system.
Yeah.
It's systemic. It's an inadequate investment. We've cut enough. Until the state steps up, we need the city to step in.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Say it again.
This $2 million is a small fraction in this shortfall. But it's one concrete step towards restoring basic services our students need, our teachers need, and we need to retain our teachers, and we need to to show our students that they matter. So, we should not ask children to do more with less, while we do less with more. Thank you for your time.
Lynn Evans. Lynn Evans.
Fourth, my side, John Garrison.
Good evening. My name is John Garrison. I'm a lifelong Bridgeport resident and father of 3 children in the public school system. I am, and I cannot stress this enough, sickened by what I've seen unfold week after week as the city continues to devastate its own public education system. I tune in virtually every session and find myself yelling at the screen, livid at the hollow words, the finger pointing, and the endless stream of egregious cuts. You offer no real solutions, no long-term strategies, and accept no accountability. It's cut after cut after cut, like some twisted game of educational Jenga, and you're now pulling out the bottom blocks. If this were a disease, your budget decisions treat the symptoms, not the cause. And at that point, many believe you are the disease, the cancer eating away your system. If anything needs to be cut in Bridgeport, it is the complacency and mismanagement at the top. $28 million vanished, and you have the audacity to come back with more cuts and no explanation? You expect students and teachers to bear the consequences while you operate with no transparency, no creativity, and no conscience? A few months ago, I accepted an olive branch. I created revivebridgeportedu.gmail.com and started building an initiative to uplift every school in this city. I would host macro-level fundraisers like a cross-city 5K with proceeds shared citywide, and micro-level events like school-specific blow parties to build self-sustaining revenue. To make that 5K a reality, I'm asking you that the necessary permits be expedited and the fees waived. That event would benefit every school in this city, but I can't do it alone. I don't have the time, the infrastructure, or the infrastructure to file the paperwork and push the permits. You do. You have access to City Hall. You have the means. You can make this happen. Or you can continue aligning yourself against the community. This community has responded with overwhelming support, but the silence coming from City Hall is deafening. It shows us just who is paying attention and who is not. To show how serious the people of Bridgeport are, we have launched a petition demanding action and accountability. This petition is titled, "Stop Devastating Education Cuts in Bridgeport Schools, Fully Fund Our Schools," and it can be found at change.org. Now, I know some of you are trying to deflect blame and say that these cuts are not your fault, that they come from higher up. And now, I'm sorry, but aren't you the funding body? Aren't you the ones voting on the budgets? Aren't you the ones who can say enough is enough? You cannot stand at the helm of the ship and claim the storm is someone else's fault while doing nothing to change course. And if you truly are as powerless as you say you are, then I have to ask, what's the point of your position? If you have no power and no voice, then cut yourselves from the budget. Redirect your allocations back to the classrooms and start making up for what's been lost. But I don't believe you are powerless. That's a weak position assumed only by weak individuals. You are elected officials. You have a platform. You can push higher, you can use the press, you can rally your constituents and fight like hell for the future of the city's children.
Come on.
But instead, you choose silence. You choose inaction. You choose to sit in those seats, draw your stipends, and do as little as possible. That ends now. Accountability begins now. And while this council may refuse to act, I'm calling on someone who can. United States Secretary of Education Linda McMahon, this is your home state and Bridgeport needs your attention. Madam Secretary, our schools are collapsing. Programs are being gutted. Local leadership is stepping back and abandoning its people instead of stepping up. You were appointed to fight for the American education, and we are begging you to please start here. To close, if you are not going to help us, then I'm here to tell you that we are going to do it without you, because the city's children deserve a future, and right now, you are in the way. Step up or step aside.
Good evening, co-chairs. My name is Bobby Brown, and I am a proud member of the Greater Bridgeport NAACP and serve as its president. I am here tonight because I care deeply and fiercely about public education, not just in theory, but in practice, because education is freedom. I'd like to give you a quote by Dr. Martin Luther King that says, "The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, this is the goal of true education." Education is justice, and education is the only real path to opportunity for our children. But for the past 11 years, Bridgeport has told a different story. We've watched after year, public education has been pushed to the bottom of the city's funding priorities. Since 2014, Bridgeport has effectively cut more than $42 billion in value from our schools, simply by refusing to keep up with inflation. And those numbers have names. Those numbers are children, our teachers, and our classrooms. This is neglect, and this is abandonment. As someone who works with you every single day, as a matter of fact, there's over 100-something parents at Central High School tonight at the cheer program. I know they're trying to decide whether to be here or to support their kids. Little do they know that that program may not be here next year. So I come here today to remind you that through my work, through mentorship and community programs, I'm telling you, our kids can feel it. They can feel it in their schools, that they don't have enough teachers, that they don't find enough counselors to talk to, when students are literally thinking about taking their own lives because of the resources that they don't have. They feel it in their classrooms, the freezing winters, the unbearable hot springs. They feel it, and the lights be flickering, the paint is spilling, and the books are outdated.
Come on.
They ask why. And I don't have an answer for them because the truth, it hurts. If Bridgeport is serious about equity, serious about justice, serious about our future, then our budget has to reflect just that. Because right now, it doesn't. Let's be clear, simply approving the mayor's proposed $3 million increase is not a solution. It's a smoke screen. That proposal brings nothing but more devastating cuts. Cuts like eliminating school libraries, cuts like 40 classroom teachers, ending after-school programs just like the one at Central, forcing 5-year-olds to walk 5.5 miles to get to their school, and teenagers to walk nearly 3 miles. This is unacceptable, and it's shameful. We're asking our children to do more with less, and that is not fair. We're asking our educators to perform miracles, and that is not fair. We're setting our communities up to fail, and that is not fair. And then blaming each other, the state is the problem, the city is the problem, the Board of Ed is the problem, we all are the problem. This evening that I stand not to just ask, I'm demanding that this committee and the city council, as long as in the Board of Ed, think about fully funding $25 million increase for our students because they need it and they deserve it. Because our children are brilliant, they are resilient, they have come out of COVID and still are pursuing their education. They should not have to be superheroes just for a basic education. Bridgeport, it's time to do right by our kids. The world is watching and so are they. Let's not hope that those that are sitting here with their minds made up, that they change their mind and decide that they want to make sure that the future gets an opportunity to one day sit in your seats, lead in our communities, be leaders in our communities to make better change for the next generation. Thank you.
The next speaker is Janine Davis.
Good evening, co-chairs, Councilman Newton and Burns, and members of the Budget and Appropriations Committee. My name is Janine Davis, and I'm a proud quarterback for a generation now. Bridgeport public schools are dramatically underfunded by both the city and the state. Since 2014, by refusing to keep up with inflation, Bridgeport has cut over $42 million in value from our public schools walk 2.5 miles before getting a bus. Bridgeport's public schools do not have to operate this way. If we fund the things we value, we can have the public school system that is thriving. We can have universal pre-K programs, paraprofessionals in our classrooms, guidance counselors, social workers, school nurses in every school, and librarians. We can offer students who need extra support, tutoring from professional math and literacy coaches, and give English language learners and special education students access to a wide range of services and best practices. We can have robust sports, music, art, extracurricular activities, and at every school, and families can feel welcome. This vision is possible, but only if you all, elected officials, make education your #1 priority. So here are a few facts I want you to consider. Fact, the budgets for certain large departments, like the police department, have grown faster than the city budget, squeezing out money and resources from other departments. The education budget has taken the greatest hit. Fact, out of 166 school districts in the state, Bridgeport is 162 when it comes to net spending per pupil. We are also in the last place when it comes to the amount of city dollars spent per pupil. Let me say that again. We are in last place for the city dollars spent per pupil. Fact, the Bridgeport Board of Education is asking for $68 million increase this year, and that's just the state current. The Board of Ed needs $25 million from this council. And here's my last fact. Mayor Ganem has presided over this city budget for 10 years and has proposed only a $3 million increase, the same as last year. Meanwhile, the police department is receiving a $4 million increase. Ganem's harmful divestment from our kids' education must end. Approve the $25 million increase that students need. We deserve it. Thank you.
Jessica Papastakos.
I'd like to thank everyone for showing up for a city that has so many
You're good. Jessica Papastakos. On August 23rd, 2016, I stood at a podium just like this in front of a school board that a lot of the members are no longer on, that wanted to know how we could come up with ways to save 47 kindergarten parents, school police, homeschool coordinators, elementary guidance counselors, and some sports programs. Now, almost 10 years later, on May 1st, here I am again. We tell our kids that anything is possible. We tell them that the future is theirs, but then we take away the people, the resources, the tools that they need to keep going. How do we achieve greatness when we keep taking everything away from them and giving them the bare minimum? Many Bridgeport students are facing obstacles that require guidance of parents, assistant principals, social workers, principals, teachers, guidance counselors. But, again, we continue to cut. We don't have enough activities in this city to keep our kids busy after school hours. And then, all of a sudden, we get programs and we cut those too. We are fighting for our kids and no one hears us. When kids leave their homes and they come into our buildings, families trust us to give them love, support, and to teach them. How are we going to be able to handle everything our kids need when the people they need are constantly in danger of losing their jobs? How many of you know what it's like to work in a kindergarten class with over 20 students? Do you know how to comfort a child who's crying? Do you know how to comfort a child whose parent committed suicide? Do you know how to comfort a child that their parent was just arrested? Do you know how to do that? Well, we do, but we can't do it without the support of all of us. So unfortunately, when you walk into a classroom and there's over 20 children in a class, and there's a teacher by herself or himself, and there's no para in that classroom, guess what happens? There's children crying, kids coming in late. There's a teacher trying to give kids breakfast. There's also a teacher who's trying to get a group together for academics, while making sure kids are using the bathroom so they don't have an accident, so they don't have to stop what they're doing to try to change a child by themselves. I've been there. I know. I am a paraprofessional. While teachers are being the only ones in that room, that is one of the hardest things to make sure that our kids are successful. That is what it's like without paras in a classroom. Now, let's take away our social workers and our guidance counselors and our vice principals. Well, guess what happens? When we go down that chain of command to find out who's going to come into a classroom to help us, there's no one left. So what do? How do we comfort that child? How do we make sure that that child is successful? How do we make sure that that child does not go down a path that leads them to crime or to anger or to anything else that we cannot give them a success? Well, what do we do when a child is in crisis mode? Who do we call? Especially now, because every building is going to be mixing their staff members. Bridgeport teachers, paras, and staff members always do what's best for the kids. We do what we can. We try to keep their dreams alive and let them know they can do anything. But let's face it, no one works for the city because of the money that we make. I definitely don't at my $40,000 a year salary, where I work 3 other jobs to make sure that I want to make a difference. They are here because they want to make a difference. Let's stop taking away things from our kids. Let's stop shortchanging them. I am Bridgeport, born and raised, went to Blackham, went to Central High School, not Central Magnet, I went to Central High School at the height of gang violence. I also graduated Housatonic. I could be a teacher, but I choose to be a parent because I love what I do, okay? I work here because I want what's best for our kids. I want to be the change and the voice they need. Bridgeport deserves the best. We deserve the same funding as everybody else. I don't have fancy numbers. I don't have fancy anything. I wish the mayor was here because 10 years ago when I bumped into him in a restaurant, I asked him, could you please not get rid of our para positions? And guess what he told me? I'll do my best. But I guarantee you if it was time for election, he would have been here hoping that all of deserve the best. I don't have my own kids. Your kids are my kids. Yes, they are. Okay? I'm here because what's right. So we deserve the same expectations of greatness. Stop taking away from our kids. Stop underfunding us. Please. You sit here and you listen. And I respect it because I probably wouldn't be the person who'd be able to just sit here and listen. So I do respect that. But at the end of the day, what are we doing for our kids? Who's going to take care of our kids? Take us all the way, there's no one left.
Jane Brunder.
Good evening, Council. My name is Sanjay Bunder. I live in 1282 North Avenue, and I'm here to talk about obviously education and what it means to me. I'm a graduate of Central High School, and that's more than 4 years ago. Education in Bridgeport has been divested for almost 11 to 12 years now. Almost half of my current life, there are students that are currently entering the Bridgeport public school system that already can see the failing system as it is, the divestments, the changes. We are all witnessing it, and so are the children. As a student in Bridgeport Public Schools, I have a first-hand account of the diminishing community and surroundings that the schools are experiencing. I myself, as an activist, as a person who personally coaches and support the kids of Bridgeport, notices and sees the beautiful minds that we cultivate as teachers, as educators, as supporters, as parents, as a community. We are the village that shows these kids warmth. If we do not show them warmth, you know the saying, it'll burn down so they can feel. And we notice this burning of our system, of our community. We feel the firsthand effects of the cuts that are taking place. We feel the firsthand effects of these proposals of increasing the walking distance. The data's there. There are many qualified people in this very chamber who have proposed and shown forth lots of data, lots of experiences. What more is there needed in order for us to be noticed, for these accounts to be taken seriously?
Come on.
And furthermore, as a person who not only has graduated from the Bridgeport Public School, I have also family, very specifically family who needed the very assistance from paraprofessionals that are being cut. How can I tell my family that there are possibilities that their future generations will not get the same opportunities that they get? If you want people in Bridgeport, the kids, to really have hope within their own futures, you have to give them the same opportunity that you once had. There are many kids who look just like all of you, who are in our schools now, who blatantly does not have the same chance you have. If you want a future, if you want a future for Bridgeport, focus on the very physical future that's right in front of you. Go into a school, go outside, see, ask these children. I have. I'm sure all of you can too.
Come on, that's accountability.
And blatantly, $3 million is not enough. As I said earlier, there is very real research, very real data that this whole chamber has proposed. Take a moment to listen. I'm glad that clear photo ops are more important than clearing up the future of a child.
Say that.
Next speaker, Karen Lover.
Good evening. I come to you as a concerned citizen, a parent of a child that graduated from Bridgeport Public School in 2021, who
Next speaker, Marie Pereira.
Good evening. Quoting the amazing Clyde Nicholson, we always have money to send our kids to jail, but not to Yale.
Come on.
Okay? I just want to say, for those of you who don't know, Bridgeport doesn't even have the highest crime rate in the state. Hartford has higher crime rate and New Haven's close, but what's amazing is New Haven and Hartford spend 15 to 20 million less on police than Bridgeport. Okay? So I also want to tell you that the role of an elected official is never to do what they personally feel. Their job is to serve you.
Say it again.
I have things that I support and my constituents don't. My role is to do what my constituents want me to do. And when you hear politicians talking, never listen to it. What matters is not the performative speech, it's how they vote. Come on. Come on. And I teach people in my district, when a politician looks you in the eye and lies to you, they'll never vote for them again. Now, Joe Gammon pointing his fingers at the Board of Ed is just so hysterical. Okay? He convinced me to support him in 15. And I did. We were so angry at Bill Finch's illegal takeover. I supported him on the condition he was going to really actively fund our schools. He then got elected, gave himself a massive raise 7 days after he was sworn in violation of the state constitution. And then he passed the largest tax increase in Bridgeport's history, increasing the mill rate by a third. He likes to say I didn't raise taxes for 9 years, but he always passes a massive tax increase in the beginning so that he can use it for a long term. I keep telling you he hasn't raised any taxes. You can't blame the minority of any body for the actions of the majority. So the board members who are incredibly irresponsible in funding and letting that former student who she want was not the minority, it was the majority. 3 of those candidates ran with Bill Finch and were endorsed by the Democratic Party. One is a Republican running for re-election who says the most atrocious things on social media about parents, teachers, staff. She was aligned. The minority, these people here, were doing everything in their power to manage and control that superintendent. So it was Joe Gammon and the Democratic establishment's candidates who are responsible for this, okay? I also want to say that we have 88% of our student population is Black and Hispanic. Our city council, 70%, a supermajority are Black and Hispanic. So not only do they have the ability to stand up for the students from their white culture,
Yes.
they have a supermajority to override a mayor's veto.
Come on.
Yes.
I'm a white person, but I went to the schools, whatever, and I'll tell you, I have never voted for a city council budget. You know why? For the severe underfunding of the public schools.
Come on.
I don't talk about it, I keep my word and I do it. Am I over? Is my time over? Did I hear the bell ring? I'm sorry, okay, no, we talk, all right. So I would just tell you, by the way, don't ever vote for a reverse Democrat here in Bridgeport. Don't say it can't be done. Every city council candidate the Democratic machine has nominated in my district for 5 years, I've defeated them.
Next speaker, Alvaro Ramirez.
Good evening, Council. My name is Alvaro Ramirez. I'm here for a few reasons. Number one, my mother was a Bridgeport teacher for over 35 years. She retired. She's at my house now. She has a leg injury. That's why she's not here. But she told me, she said, Papi, you gotta go. You gotta go and you gotta support the teachers. I'm with the Carpenters Union. For those of you who do not know me, I'm standing here with every union brother and sister that have been here. We have to fight for the city.
Yes.
Some other people said some of these elected officials need to be voted out, but they're here now. So we have to work together.
Yeah.
All of us. I look you all in your eyes. I look you all and I want you to look me in my and thank God that my son was accepted into the Open Choice Program. He's gone to Westport School since he was 5 years old in kindergarten. He's been in special education since he was in kindergarten. They spend so much money, so much time on him personally, not the other children in the school also that have disabilities. I'm here also standing up for the children who have disabilities. And I say to you all, if you invest the money and you put the money in the people, just like we stood up for the buildings, right? We in the Carpenters Union spend $250 million a year on training that they spend on us because they want us to be the best of the best. That's how we get the job done efficiently, proficiently, and on time.
Come on.
We can't invest a little bit of money in our children. How do we expect them to build the future for us?
Yeah.
With no help. You're asking these teachers to build with skeleton crews.
Yes.
A skyscraper with skeleton crew. I don't understand. I don't understand. Again, they've invested so much time and money into speech therapy, all kinds of academic support. He has earned, and I'm so proud, has earned himself to get out of special education this year. Believes in himself, and I wake him up every day and say, if I can go out there and believe in yourself. Yeah. Believe in yourself when no one else does. And I'm here to stand with you, all of you. We need to join together and show them. We can easily show them all. If we stand up and we fight together, we can show them that it's about us and not them. Yeah.
Next speaker, Aaron Buckley.
Hello, members of the board. My name is Erin Buckley. I am a parent of 2 Bridgeport graduates and the parent of 2 current Bridgeport students. I'm also a school librarian, and I absolutely love my job. I work with pre-K through 8th. I have 620 students. I'm split between 2 schools. So I teach 31 classes a week. I have students with English language learners, intellectual disabilities, learning disabilities, social emotional needs, and physical disabilities. So as you look at the board's cuts, please imagine yourself as a teacher with 29 8-year-olds and children with each of these issues in the class. It's not like you just have one child who has a learning disability or one child with social emotional needs. You have the whole gamut in these classes. And as a school librarian, I'm supposed to introduce a topic and then have the children demonstrate a product. Now, if I have a child that speaks Portuguese, which I don't speak, I have to go to the app. And now I have to try to answer this child's question while somebody else might be having a social emotional breakdown. So if I have a child in crisis, and now if you get rid of our social workers at both of my schools are only there part-time. So if you get rid of that social worker, and I have a child who's having an anxiety attack, and now I can't call my vice principal either because they're not there either. So what I'm asking you is please advocate for our kids. We need creative solutions. I served on a focus group years ago where we had learned that Bridgeport takes over 80% of re-entries from jail, but only 11% are from Bridgeport. Why aren't those towns paying us more? Because our streets and our communities are impacted by these re-entries. We need to go to the state. The governor has been bragging about this rainy day fund. It's pouring here. We are already doing more with less. Please look at the kids that are still in here. They're not widgets. It's not a peg
and equitable education. Thank you.
Next speaker, Kate Sweeney.
Good evening, members of the City Council and the Appropriations Committee. My name is Faith Sweeney, and I'm a resident of Bridgeport. I'm here tonight to address the crisis our public school system is in, and this crisis demands immediate attention, serious action from all levels of government, including this one and later. The projected $30 million budget deficit for the 2025-2026 school year is not just a number. It represents teachers, school counselors, librarians, after-school programs, and essential services that our children rely on. To close this gap, the district is already preparing for more layoffs, cutting staff and programs that directly impact student learning and their well-being. Let's be honest. It isn't just a district problem. It is a citywide emergency. When our schools fail, our entire community suffers. Students fall behind, families move away, crime rises, property values drop. We all lose. Say it again. Gannon claims he will be adding $3 million in funding this year, but that's simply not enough for our schools. We need bold, urgent leadership to close this gap and save our schools. This means working with the state to demand equitable education funding. And that means examining our Bridgeport's own city budget line by line and asking this very crucial question. Are we putting our children first? We cannot balance this budget on the backs of students. We cannot treat teachers as expendable, and we can absolutely not afford to allow this funding crisis to derail the future of thousands of young people who already face more barriers than most. The City Council and the Appropriations Committee must push for a clear plan, one that prioritizes long-term stability for Bridgeport Public Schools. That includes sustainable investment, not short-term band-aids. It means fighting for a fair share of state education dollars and demanding transparency and equity in how the dollar is spent. The truth is, Bridgeport students deserve the same resources, the same opportunities, and the same hopes that students in Fairfield and Westport get every day. Anything less is injustice. I urge you to act decisively, collaborate with the Board of Education, with the Mayor's Office, and with the state. Find the funding, protect our classrooms, and show the city that you believe in its children. Thank you.
Next speaker, Natalie Acevedo.
Good evening, again, my name is Natalie Acevedo. I'm a mom. I am born and raised here at Bridgeport Hospital, and I have a little girl. She's 7, about to be 8. She goes to Waltersville School, and I just want to say, cutting any of the programs is absolutely not acceptable. An example that I can give, and I'll make it short and sweet. My daughter had a great teacher, Mr. Ruff. For any of you that know that teacher, he was great. Mr. Ruff was great because he helped my daughter, along with other children in her class last year, to do reading, sight words, and so forth, anything that has to do with reading. Now, he's not here. He's teaching, I think, kindergarten this year. Not a bad thing, but the support is definitely needed towards our kids. It is vital at this point, and the mayor definitely should be here, and the fact that he's not here, that's a slap in the face. Yeah. So please don't cut these programs. It's vital. My Thank you very much.
Our last speaker, Vivaldo L. on the initial.
Hi. My name is Leonardo. I'm 5 years old. I'm here to tell you. I don't want to move from Bridgeport. I don't want to move out of Bridgeport to a better school, better school. Me and my friends for the certain opportunity. Thank you.
Through the chair, I'd like to introduce somebody to you. His name is John J. Ramos II, principal of the Interdistrict Magnet School, has been named the 24-25 Outstanding First Year Principal declared by the Connecticut Association of Schools. Please, let's give him a hand.
Let me thank everyone for coming out tonight, sharing your concerns, and that we will